Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
We are extremely pleased that you are here. It is nice to come together for the purpose of co-creating, is it not?
Yes.
You are understanding that this gathering is orchestrated from your perspective, do you not? In other words, whatever it is you are wanting to talk about is what you are wanting.
Pin that on for us, please.
You are wanting to be heard other than here, indeed. No point in wasting words on ears alone.
That's true.
What are you wanting to talk about?
It was interesting, and I don't believe in coincidences. The first question that came out had to do with health. And on the way over here, we were talking about health. A couple of weeks ago, I was with my daughter, and I haven't had fever blisters in probably 3 or 4 years. She had a fever blister on her bottom lip. It's like I knew I didn't have them anymore, but I had sympathy or empathy toward her and wished she didn't have it, and I immediately felt it like on my lip. And I didn't take care of it anymore. Then I began getting that fever blister right after I left the luncheon meeting with her. So I talked to myself, I got rid of it, and I manifested one up here on the top part, which was like real interesting for me. And I think probably it could have been like I was focusing on it. I think that happened with the attraction. I mean, my inner being was working, and I knew that I was miscreating at that point. But it was like I felt so sorry for her having a fever blister. It's like my empathy got in there. And then in the same situation, my sister was ill with the flu or something similar to that. And it was like I felt so badly about her being ill because we couldn't play together and do things that we were having fun with. It was like every time I would be with her or talk to her or hear her, my nose would start running and I would start coughing, and I'd have to talk to myself about, I don't need this, I don't have to have it, I can't take it away from her. Then in the back of my mind, it's a little complex, but in the back of my mind there was a movie several years ago about this lady who would be with other people who were ill and take on their illness, but then get rid of it, like take it away from them.
Very nice of her.
I know. So see, that's what I was thinking. Oh, okay, well, if you think about that or if you believe that, that could happen to you too. So you're just a walking magnet. You're going to get everybody's things that you have to get rid of.
You are right when you say it is very complex, but it is not a difficult thing to unravel once you understand the process for unraveling. We would say that it was not out of empathy that you attracted the fever blister. What happened was you were stimulated to the thought. In other words, you saw something that stimulated the thought within you, but you have a bank of beliefs within you based upon your past experience, you see. And so it came out of your block of belief, not out of your empathy. Or let us say maybe out of self-empathy. For anything that you've ever lived, there is some pretty strong belief about it, is there not? You've been run over by a car, you find yourself watching where you're going when you cross the street. It is a sort of, anything that has happened that has brought any sort of emotion about it the time that it happened is something that comes forth within you very strongly. And so what we are saying, let us take the subject of the fever blister. Now, as you saw it and did not want her to have it, and recognized that it is uncomfortable, did you have any conversation about it? Did you talk about how sore they are or nothing?
No, but I felt it. Whenever I saw it and she said, yes, I have a fever blister, and I want to get rid of it, that's about all we talked.
And so there was no conversation beyond that.
Not really.
And so it was a block of thought that is within you. Did you find yourself pondering or remembering the fever blister that you had experienced?
I remembered it immediately.
So much so that in that moment you felt it, even though it was not possibly there at that time.
Absolutely.
And so that was your point of pivot. In other words, that's the point where you say, now this is a very good thing. My warning system, my guidance system, is alerting me to a belief that is still within me, that is not in harmony with what I currently want. And that belief is that I can have a fever blister. And so then you stop Take your pivot, and this is what we mean when we say take your pivot. Focus upon the positive aspects of where you now stand. In other words, here I am, a healthy being. Look in the mirror, acknowledge that in all of this time, no fever blister has been there. In other words, talk to yourself about the irrationality of just bringing forth a fever blister just because you know that they exist. In other words, you have the option of bringing it forth or of not bringing it forth. And so your decision is, that was an experience of the past. And you feel good about it. In other words, there is no uneasiness about it. It takes a little self-talk, that is all. We were watching our friend, a woman called, a dear friend, very upset, and for about an hour they conversed. He pointed out the positive aspects of her experience, and in doing so, literally changed the course of her life that is to come, because he got her focused upon all of the positive aspects, or many of them, and off of the negative aspects. Esther's daughter Tracy called a day or two ago, and she said, "Mother, I am so angry, and I've called because I want you to make me feel better, or to help me feel better." Her mother said, "What is the matter?" She said, "I'm giving a baby shower for a friend, and we've decided to have it on Thursday." And then another friend called and said, "Thursday's not a good day," but I had already announced it to everyone and had made all of the arrangements, and so because this friend said it isn't a good day, now I've moved it till Saturday. But Saturday is not a very good day for me because I work on Saturday. So I said, "All right, I work at 5, so we will have to start at 12 o'clock. And so again, I've made all of the arrangements. I've told everyone about it. And now this same friend calls and says, 12 o'clock is not a good time. Let us have it at 1 o'clock. And Esther said, "And what did you say?" And Tracy said, "I said, no. 1 o'clock is not good for me." Her mother said, "Well, let's focus upon the positive aspects." And Tracy said, "I don't want to focus upon the positive aspects. I'd rather be mad." And they laughed, for she really did not want to be mad. It was just that the momentum was carrying her in that direction. And as you know, it is easier to go with the momentum than it is to make a decision to go in another direction. Esther said, "Well, now think about it, Tracy. Does the difference between 12 o'clock and 1 o'clock really make that much difference to you?" And again, the resistance came forth very strongly. "Yes, it makes a difference," Tracy said. And then Esther remembered, as we talked about focusing upon the positive aspects regarding the hotel that always forgot they were coming. We did not say, "Write in your book, they are always ready and waiting for us." We encouraged Esther to write in her book the other positive aspects that there was no conflicting about. And so Esther realized that she was going about this in the wrong way with Tracy, and she said, "Well, tell me about your party. What are you serving?" And Tracy described the cake, and Esther said, "And what is your gift?" And Tracy described the high chair, and Esther said, "And what sort of decorations?" And Tracy described the decorations, and then Tracy said, "I feel better." Your work is not to convince yourself you're wrong when you're right, or you're right when you're wrong. You're too smart for that. You will not allow it. You will stand your ground till you die. You will stand up with this conflicting belief or with this conflicting friend, and you will argue forever about what is the appropriate one, and you will not have the results that you seek. And then Tracy said, "It really doesn't make any difference whether it is 12 or 1 o'clock. I don't know why I got my feelings hurt about that. It just seemed like they didn't care about me, that they only wanted what was important for them." And Tracy said, "And what I want is a really fun party." Now, that is a good example of the way to take your pivot. Some self-talk. Talk to yourself about the issue until you feel better about the issue. And in feeling better about the issue, you literally merge or modify those old beliefs that are in your way. You see the way it works?
Very good.
What more?
You talk about what you call the fairies of the universe, putting the elements together that make things happen here. And I note that a great deal of what people are wanting to understand is why the negative has befallen someone. I, for many years, was looking for the how to get the good in my control. And I started with the circus as a kid, and the slogan is, "The show must go on." And so as 20 years of the entertainment industry, only a short of it time in the circus field, but I used to brag that I've never missed a show. You know, I've never been so tired or nothing's happened. I've never been sick enough. I've never changed my mind. I mean, nothing has ever happened to make me not make a show. And so then when I left that field and went into the next field that I was in for the last few years, and one time I was in line waiting to board a plane in Fresno, California to do a seminar in San Diego. And the fellow taking the boarding passes was talking to the passenger in front of me until the plane was closing the doors. And I said, "My plane's leaving." And he said, "I know." I said, "Well, I'm supposed to be on it." He said, "Why didn't you say something?" I said, "Well, I was waiting for you." And he said, "Well, this is my girlfriend." I said, "Well, you have to stop the plane." He said, "No, I can't stop." I said, "I know you can." He said, "Well, I can't." So I got in my car, and I knew the plane landed in Burbank, California, which is maybe 200 miles away. 100, I don't remember. But, and I don't know the speed. I had a little Cadillac Seville, and in other words, the speedometer only goes so far, but I put it on the floor. And I just left it on the floor until I hit Burbank, California, assuming that everybody would get out of the way and no policeman would see me, or if they did, they couldn't catch me. And when I got to Burbank, I went right into the airport at just full speed, and I left the car right on the side of the road, not in a regular parking area. I jumped out of the car, I ran through the gates, I ran up onto my plane, and I told the stewardess, I said, "You left me in Fresno." And then, so of course, I made the plane on to San Diego. My point is, and then as the years went by, after I looked back at that, I thought that was impossible. It's like it was a dream. It didn't really happen. I couldn't have made that plane, get there as fast as the plane did with my car. I mean, I know there's some stall time before they left at that end. But is that not a case of, and could you explain how it works, how everything comes together to make the seemingly impossible occur?
What you are describing here is the perfect example of the power of high wanting. In other words, your very powerful decision coupled with your belief or expectation that you never miss a show. In other words, your wanting and that expectation were all that were necessary. Nothing else makes any difference. In other words, avenues open, waters part, everything falls into place when what you are wanting and what you are expecting are the same. You see, what happens in your society, you live in what we call a hopeful world. It is a word that you use so often. When we use it, it is always one that we take back as soon as it comes out. It is a misused word, a word that you would be well to alter or bridge. For hope means wanting and doubting. There is a little doubting in that wanting, and a little doubting is just enough to keep the wanting from ever being, you see. And so what you are wanting to do is to change the hoping to knowing, so that you are wanting and expecting. That's what equals having, or you see. And so that is where you were upon that. You knew what you wanted, and you knew it would be. You did not say, "I hope I'll be there on time." You did not say, "I hope I will make this meeting. I hope I don't miss it. I hope I don't disappoint all of these people that have gathered." You had knowledge within you that carried you through that scenario. And that is what we are wanting you to understand. When you understand that there is nothing outside of you that is making the difference, it is all inside of you. And then you are very clever about paying attention to the way that you feel, and so that you are changing all of these little, "I hope I don't get cancer," to "I know I will not." "I hope I will be prosperous," to "I know the dollars are flowing." "I hope I will have a good relationship," to "I know good relationship is my way of life." Then it doesn't matter how life is touching you, you are having what you are wanting from it, because this basic knowing of the laws and of your attraction power are within you. Of course, there will always be much variety, because you are continuing to think about what you are wanting. You are continuing to be exposed to new ideas, new stimulations of desire.